We're here.
I am here live from a Zeppelin over Hamburg in Europe, trying to call in some UFO MUFON anomalies tonight with this headset. The red, don't ignore the red up there. I don't know what that thing is doing. It's flipped up to the side. I could not get Bluetooth headset to attach to this new PC. New PC this week. Unfortunately, Tyson, super nice guy, super understanding, is victim to yet another Morph technical difficulty snowball of a pain in the neck here. So we are back. We tried to start live. Something hung up on the Facebook side, kicked us back out. So hopefully everybody's jumping back over. I think it stopped on the original YouTube and restarted here again. And then we got to see Angel right in the beginning of it from last week. So I don't know what's going on, guys. New PC, all kinds of stuff not functioning. But I think we're still going to have a good show. In fact, I know we're still going to have a good show because no matter what, I'll just get out a bigger baseball bat and break more stuff over here if that's what it takes. So we're back. It's another No Remorph. All of the typical stuff. I hope this is... Can you guys hear me fine?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Okay.
Yeah, we just got people. People are just starting to come in because they probably got stuck on the other link and
right, and then they're going to have to leave and come on to the second link. I apologize, as that is a nightmare. But we'll get it figured out. We'll get back on track here. Hopefully, we'll get some people sitting in the seats again and figuring it out. But in the meantime, news, guys. Anything other than complete PC disaster?
Siding is in for the facility. So going to be starting on that next week. Hopefully we get rid of. It's been raining here every day. It seems like for like 3 weeks now. So
yeah,
get a little break in the rain, get the siding on, and then that pretty much wraps up. Well, the outside of the building got some concrete work and sidewalks and that kind of stuff to do and some driveway work. But at least that gets us working inside, finishing the rest of the inside up. So
yeah, heck yeah. That'll be nice, man. Get it all closed in and no damage happening to a brand new building. So that'll be good for sure. Jamie, you had a couple hatchlings?
Yep, I had a couple hatchlings this week, 2 little geckos, and they're adorable. Now I have to wait till August for the next clutch to hatch. But I've got 2 that I purchased arriving tomorrow. So look out for updates on those guys on Instagram.
Those babies are super colorful, man.
Right? Yeah. They're so beautiful. I love them.
They're cool. They are cool, and they always kind of come out like scarily different in time. So like one will eke its way out, and the next one's like, "Are you coming out maybe tomorrow?"
Right.
And yeah. So I know you're up and down the stairs 100 times a day checking those little things, and the camera alerts you that there's motion and stuff. And man, if my head starts tilting to the side here, guys, I apologize. I'm not used to the weight of this on my head.
That microphone pulling you over.
Yeah, dude, it's really awkward. So I apologize. Normally I'm shooting people from multiple different squads and things and Call of Duty with this going on, not broadcasting. So bear with me. But it looks like numbers are getting back up kind of to normal. People found out, hey, they must have had John's problems again. And
I put a note in the old link to hop over to the new one.
Nice. Appreciate that. And so they're refining us, and it's good because we want to get people out here to meet Tyson too. We're not super familiar with Tyson. He's been watching the show. He's been in a lot of the different shows with the RWO crew over there. Seen him on some of the WizTang network stuff too. And when we spotted him and he started coming in pretty regularly, we're like, hey, let's get you out here. You're obviously interested, and let's meet you and see what's going on and get everybody familiar with you. So it's part of what we're doing tonight. As usual, though, guys, we're going to touch on some of the real basic stuff, the stuff we always touch on. We've got Deeds Not Words. Jamie and I threw this on. It's getting really close now. We're down to what about 9-10 days, something like that left on this. So time's running out to do this, guys, but go out and get a shirt. Go out and support it. Deeds Not Words, super important. It's giving back to the vets that, gave so much to us and continue to do so, right? But these guys, they deserve a little time out there doing what they used to enjoy, Camp Freedom lets them do that. The camping, fishing, stuff in the outdoors that just doesn't become all that available to them at this point. So awesome campaign. Awesome thing to just get a hold of Chris too, because if you don't do t-shirts, if that's not your thing, I get it. Cash donations are totally fine. They'll figure out a way for you to donate if you can. So
Yeah.
reach out on that. And while we're on it, I did a little, I needed any additional odd stuff this week, but we're going to add Chris's broadcast too, because we talk about it all the time. We talk about WizTang Clan, we talk about RWO, but we never mention Fat Man and what he's got going on over there. He's got a lot of good shows. If you're not over there watching their stuff, go over and support them. They try to do all kinds of good things in the community, and he's got a ton of variety on that channel. You know, you got things from Snakes and the Fat Man. That's the original show that kind of started all of this off, and it's the 1st and 15th of every month. So keep that in mind. The 1st and 15th is not always going to hit on a Monday or a Thursday. You know, that may repeat month to month, but 1st and the 15th, look for that one. My one black friend and my one white friend, that one was
That kills me.
long. Yeah, hilarious show. I mean, there's a lot of fun stuff in that show, but
Yeah.
came back after a 4-year hiatus on that one. Dakeem and Chris sit down and they just kind of chop it up, kind of give each other a tough time. Good laughs, always. Then you got the Fat Man Live. That's on every other Sunday night, 8 p.m. The cleavage brings us in, and the cleavage just draws in the audience. And then, you know, I guess the fact that the ladies are actually more competent than a lot of the guys out there keeps you watching. So, great show. They always have a fun time on there. Bronx Down Under. Got It's Better to
When
Burn
I was
Out Than to Fade Away.
when I was on that show, he cut me off. Remember?
Yeah, you got sent backstage a couple times.
Kicked you out of there. I think you used the keyword fire that he hates, and he threw you backstage. But
Yeah, it was funny. Bye.
bye, right? So Bronx Down Under, that one too. Catch that when you can. He's not real specific on times on that. And then 15 Minutes of Lame. Where are they now? And the 15-minute shows kind of blend in with his normal Snakes and the Fat Man show too every week. So definitely, guys, support that channel. Support the Deeds Not Words. And that was it. I just wanted to add that in this week because we do that for all the different networks, right? We've done it for Herb Collectors, WizTang, and the Whiskey Bomb Network, and RWO too. So I wanted to make sure we include Chris in that and get him a little bit of a schedule reminder for people. I'm sure they're familiar with his shows, but it doesn't hurt. Kind of leads me to you, Jason. I think you take care of this every week in the car salesman voice.
Yes. Forge coin weighing you down? Don't fret. It's a common problem amongst all the best folks in the industry. What you may not know is there's a simple solution. That's right. Chris over at BNS Reptilia will help loosen your load. He's happy to take all that forge coin off your hands. Chris carries Coco2go and The Chipper, two of the highest quality reptile bedding products on the market, and it doesn't stop there. Chris also keeps a variety of animals. So if you're in the market for colubrids, ball pythons, blood pythons, or boas, make sure you reach out to Chris at BNS Reptilia and show him your forge coin.
Awesome, man.
Do you just make that up? It's so funny. Speaking of Forge Coin, we had somebody use $30 Forge Coin today. So awesome. Let's keep that going.
Heck yeah.
Use it.
Appreciate that for sure. We're going to get rid of that scene. And then all we got to do is really kind of just recognize some of the sponsors we don't have material for yet. And guys, if you get your stuff together and you send it over, we'll be more than happy to throw in a commercial for you. Bone Daddy, Vinnie over there, awesome animals, works in Monarch Project. He's also doing some other stuff too recently that's kind of coming out crazy, G-Stripe and mixing that in there too. So, and does laser engraving. I think he does not only cutting boards, but I think he's capable of doing like the other products, glass and that type of stuff. Don't quote me on that, but I believe so. I believe his new machine does all that work. So, and then you got TJ and Craig at Rippin' Reptiles. Just finished a move, so they're going to be a little bit tough to get a hold of probably for a week or so. Well, not tough to get a hold of, but I'm sure they're super busy getting everything scheduled in there and animals moved and settled in. But awesome. They jumped out there right away and said, hey, we'll sponsor the show. We'd like to get on the Forge Coin affiliates too, but fantastic couple. And most people out there are going to know them. So Definitely reach out if you're looking for certain things. They've got a lot of different projects going. Chris, we mentioned, and then the one in the bottom corner, I think the last one to the group, but very nice guy. I had him on not long ago, Mark Middlestedt over at Rat Bastard. Awesome guy. He's got some really nice projects. We kind of looked over some of what he has, kind of in that, what do you want to call it, like the Breeder 1, 2, 3 thing Billy does with mutation creation. He shot a list over and he goes, what are your thoughts? Mark these down. What should I pair where? What should I maybe hold back? What should I get? But he's got a lot of nice snakes over there, and going forward, those plans are going to look awesome. So talk with Mark all the time. He took Forge Coin today, actually, for one of his items. So
Yeah.
he is on the affiliates too. So give all these guys a shout out. Appreciate all of you. Charlie, you're getting your commercial in a second, and all the rest of the affiliates, you're coming up too. Anything else, guys, or should we run those and get right to Tyson and start a actual
Yeah, let's
conversation?
do it.
Shout out to Tommy.
Oh, yeah.
Badass
absolutely.
shirt. It's not that color, but I like it because the green
Dude,
works
that's
with the
almost
green screen.
cooler.
I
How
know,
did he get
right?
his shirt to do that? What in the...
It's pretty badass.
Yeah.
But really nice shirt. It's got the Ewok deal on the back. I'm not going to turn around, but big letters on the back. Nice shirt. Thank you, sir.
Yeah,
He
awesome.
walks away.
Right? I'm never going to let that go.
was
Deeds,
so
deeds not
good.
words, guys. Go out and do it. Like 10, 11
Become
days
a
left.
verified badass.
Yes. All
Do
right,
it
let's
now.
take this mic away from this lady. All right. We're getting the commercials in here, guys. We'll be right back. Again, apologize for the delay and the restart, but here we go. All right, shout out to the sponsors. Appreciate you, Charlie. Charlie is going to do a bunch of testing for us coming up here shortly. We're gathering sheds, so it's going to be a kind of a bit, not a bigger batch, but bigger than you're used to from us anyway, Charlie. Heads up. So appreciate you 100%. All the affiliates, appreciate you guys. We had an ad on there that I forgot to mention. F&A was on their show last Sunday, but they also signed up on the affiliate link too, guys. They got a ton of really nice stuff over there also, so... appreciate you guys 100%. That puts us at 26 affiliates now. So it's getting to be a pretty nice sized group. Jamie, you ready to head back? Round up a trivia question for the night?
Yes.
Guys, if you have questions for Tyson or it's something related to what we're talking to at the moment and you want to throw it in there, Jamie's sorting all of that stuff. If she misses you, type it again. Maybe type it in all caps. Maybe throw a FU in there at Jamie for missing
Yell
it the
at
first
me.
time. Yeah, just yeah. she'll be cool with that. But let's get Tyson out here, guys. Let's do it. Jamie, good luck back there.
Thank you.
There he is.
And there he is.
What's up, y'all?
Tyson, good to have you on, man. Appreciate you coming on and spending your night with us. Apologies for all the delay and technical difficulties, restart, all of that madness, but you're here and we're ready to do it, man. And I'm excited.
Yeah, me too. I appreciate you guys letting me come on, for sure.
Absolutely. So this is going to be for everybody, I think. Maybe not everybody. There's going to be some people out there really familiar with you. We were not at all. Like I said in the intro here, we were kind of seeing you pop into the chats. You came into our show a couple different times, said, hey, I've said hi to you, and different, things going on around the community, but I wasn't familiar with you at all. Added you on Insta, started checking out what you're doing, but give us a little background. Tell us kind of how you got into this and how this all started for you.
So reptiles have always kind of been a little bit of a thing. I took quite a bit of a break through high school and college. My mom has that, which I think she's watching, but she's got that Christian mentality. Snakes are evil. And so it was one of those things when I'd catch a garter snake, I'd hide it in a closet in a box, and I'd get to keep it for a couple of days until she found it, and then it was gone. So it was one of those things. My wife's had a cicada since she was 8, so we've always kind of had reptiles around. Got a bearded dragon. As far as the ball pythons, a couple years ago, I've always wanted one, never really, I guess, did it, and then found a local breeder, Snakenstein Reptiles, and he's an awesome guy. So he got me set up, helped me get it all figured out, and then when I started breaking off a little bit, doing a little bit more research, wanting to get into that breeding hobby, it just made sense. He helped me really find a bunch of genes. I had, like, he doesn't work with a Zenthic, and I really like the VPI. The VPI DG caught my eye, and I really wanted to make one. I've kind of moved, not necessarily away from the Zenthic project, but it's definitely not one of my main focuses by any means anymore. It's really cool, and I really like it, but I've kind of moved away from that, I guess. But as far as that goes, that's, I guess, how I got in.
So did you initially, when you started into the ball pythons, initially go, I want to get some and breed, or was it I'm getting a pet and then breeding?
No, I just got in, and I got Nala. She's a bamboo scream het clown. At the time, had no idea what the het really meant. Really, that's what kind of sparked the interest on that end of things is what does this mean? And then I just started really diving into like the Leviathan videos. Bob with Green Room Pythons was where I started, I guess, even just with the husbandry. And I've found quite a few other guys, Proper Royals and stuff like that, and I've just consumed snake content. Most people come home, probably watch Netflix. I come home and turn on YouTube and figure out what live's going on or what video from Bob Cusco I've missed over the last couple of days, and just that is kind of taken over my life. I own a shop, a mechanic shop, and so cars were my thing. It was my out. And then when I owned my shop, and now that's my everyday thing, I needed an out from my out. And so this is my kind of go in my stateroom and hide from everybody.
Sure.
Right. And that's funny that you say that, because that sounds really familiar with our scenario too, is like you get these interests and hobbies and you want to do those to a point, right? But then you want that other one it's like we're way too far spread in the interests and stuff too. But now I think the snakes and reptiles have kind of moved into that number one spot, or at least I hope for most keepers and stuff, because that kind of needs to be, right? But yeah, it's funny you say you started that way and now this has kind of shifted in there and you're working at this. So you say you moved away from the VPI a little bit, but what did you kind of shift to? What was your more interesting genes and things?
It was more as I'm watching content, and it's don't chase people's coattails, I guess is the best way to put it. So I found myself with the VPI project. I was wanting the VPI DG clown, and I'll make one. I have everything to do it, and I'll get it done, but it's probably not going to be while it's a $10,000 snake. It'll be a few years, and so it's not necessarily just, it's something I'll make, but it's not the goal. I just had a 15 egg clutch. There was no recessive genes in there, and just the incomplete dominance. There's there's so many aspects of incomplete dominance that haven't even been, in my opinion, moved on. The whole black-eyed leucistic family or complex. Everyone can make a white snake black eyes. So once they found out they made white snakes with black eyes, they moved on because it's another Lucy gene. So let's stop working it. One that I'm really chasing is like mahogany cream clown. Those are really with a couple other complete dominants. Those cream clowns in general, just that entire project is amazing. Disco in there instead of fire, even better. So it's just a lot of. I feel like the incomplete dominance. I'm not saying that they haven't been moved, but everyone been pushing those recessive pretty freaking hard right now.
Yeah. And there's so many combinations. That's what people don't really think about. You see things, right? And you think of the genes and you're like, oh, people have paired that. But there's so many combinations. We could do this for years and years and years and still be combinations that nobody's made. So, yeah, that's a good point. Very good point.
Yeah, absolutely. I agree, Alan. Mahogany cinder stuff, I mean, there's a lot to be worked in there. The disco, I agree, looks fantastic. And Clown Jose over at Japanic, he's got some really nice disco clown stuff and some world's firsts going into those, and those things are wild looking. I mean, really different. So I get that, and appreciate stepping away, right? Because the draw initially, I think, or what brings a lot of people in is seeing those recessive combos that were pushed so hard, and you do kind of fall into, okay, this is what need to be made, and if you don't catch that early on and move away and do your own thing, it's easy to get in that linear trap, if you want to call it that. So that's awesome that you spotted that right away and said, I'm not doing that, I'm going this route and stepping out this way. So 15 egg clutch. That's a huge one.
That's a big one, yeah.
That is massive.
Yeah, especially for the first one when you're, expecting a 6 to 8 maybe, and then 15 comes out. You're like, oh, this is. I guess we're doing this.
That was your first clutch?
Yeah, first clutch ever.
Wow.
They've all taken 2 meals at this point. Yeah, they're all doing freaking awesome.
Wow.
That's crazy.
It's a ball, but yeah, it was insane. It still is. It still blows my mind. Chris made fun one day when a lady walked in and asked what the average clutch was, and we both looked at each other because I helped him clean his rat room, and we both looked at each other and said 15. And my average is just trash. I can't use averages anymore.
Right.
That's hilarious, man.
Kind of blows that out of the water. And while we're on that, I mean, a 15 egg clutch, what do you think it would run to put an underground water line from your place to ours? So we could get some of these 15ers going on our side,
Right.
Well, whatever's in that water, we need it. But that's crazy. I think our biggest is what?
11?
11, I think.
I think it's 11, yeah. Nowhere near 15. Insane. That's, yeah.
How big was this girl, Tyson?
She averages about 500 grams roughly without, okay. I mean, just
she's a big girl.
She's about 5 foot long. Yeah, I'm not going to say she's Volta because I don't have any lineage to prove it. She's got a bigger head than every other female I've ever been around. She's a lot larger than any other female. So there's probably some sort of Volta somewhere in there, but I don't, it's not something I can prove.
Sure. Yeah, and you do see that variety anyways. I mean, we've had a lot of snakes in that 34 to 4,200, but they still only drop us 8-9 eggs. You know what I mean? No matter how big they get.
They're big eggs, but
yeah.
Babies come out at 150 grams damn near. It's crazy. But
she was one of my buddies. He kind of gave her to me because he found out I wanted to breed, and so I was like, yeah, I'm going to breed a couple years down the road. And he's like, well, here's a girl. She'll breed, and it'd been 5 years since she laid a clutch, so I'm guessing that's going to be probably a nice 5-year break, and then a bunch of medium rats right behind it really helped out.
Yeah.
Okay, gotcha.
That's awesome, though, man.
So we touched a little bit on how you got into all of this, but give us a heads up. Where are you located? What's your area? Have you been to any of the local shows and things? Let's do a little geographical touch here so people know where you're at.
So we're in West Texas, Odessa, home of Friday Night Lights. We have a show, the Show Me Reptile show, that comes to Odessa 3 times a year. We're there every chance I can. Any reptile show. We have a mobile dyno at my shop, and so we end up traveling across the state. So if we're within driving distance on a Sunday after the dyno event, we'll rip over to a reptile show. Met Zach Parpart over at Lone Star Show over in Dallas. Picked up a snake from him randomly on a dyno day. And our NARBC we've been to down here in Dallas a couple times. As long as the schedule lines up, I try and make it to as many as I can for sure.
Gotcha. Okay. So it gives us a little better feel. I always forget to ask that when guests are on because we're familiar. We know, but I forget to put it out there so everybody else is like, oh, he's a Texas guy, but gotcha. Traveling dino. Not to get completely away from snakes, but that's pretty interesting, honestly. Like, how does that market work? Do you have just a group of car heads that just say, hey, can you get that thing over here? And they line up like 10, 15 to strap to this thing and test, or...
So yeah, there's a couple different ways it goes. We've got an event down in Houston, Texas, Walmsley's Dyno event that we go down to every year. We run 52 trucks in like 15 hours. We do C10 Nationals, which is C10 like Chevrolet pickup trucks. They have a big show down here in Dallas. We go to that every year. We're the dyno there. Just it kind of depends. We get a couple local shows here and there, so it's just strap it up to my truck. It's basically a 26-foot gooseneck trailer that I tow around my truck, and unstrap and then strap trucks to it and see what happens.
Can you explain what a dynamometer is because I'm sure there's people in the chat that don't have any idea what we're talking about.
So it's a chassis dynamometer. So basically we load up a vehicle, a truck car. There's big old rollers that are attached to some inertia equipment that measures the horsepower and the torque that is put down to the ground. It's fun. That's another good YouTube venture. If you can't find any reptile content, go to Dyno Fails, and there is just a bunch of stuff that happens all the time, and it's not so much fun when you're on the side of the camera that's being filmed, but it's a lot of fun when you're on the opposite side.
Right. Yeah. Right, when you're watching the event and not actually have your equipment sitting there. Yeah. You got a hood that flies off 15 feet and an axe that drops out the back, right?
Yeah.
But
Yep.
Yeah, it's wild. I mean, I have seen some of that stuff, and we have a few car heads in the area. They build for different reasons, right? Like dirt track and stuff. But dyno becomes big when they have to meet their requirements for class and whatnot.
Yep.
You know what I mean? Like, you got to stay under this. If this thing dynos out way over, you're not in that class, pal. Go to the next one or whatever, So,
Correct. Yep.
Yeah, it's pretty interesting that crosses over weird too. It's like, we've talked about this many times outside of this, but there are a lot of groups of people that overlap with the reptile world, and to get some of that information and info and involve those people is only good for everybody on both sides, right? Like, and get the stigma away from reptiles are weird or dino guys are friggin' weird. You know what I mean? All have tons of overlap. So that's cool, man. Moving back to reptiles, other species, you said you talked about a couple you still keep, but are you doing anything outside of balls as far as breeding?
No, is one of those things that with everything that we've got going on, small business ownership on both sides, right? I mean, this is a small business, and then the other small business. It's kind of quite a large sum, I guess. I'm not overwhelmed or anything, but it's one of those things that I've got plenty on my plate. In 15, 20 years, when I decide to retire, maybe I'll start breeding, bearded dragons or something along those lines. But as far as that, no, I'm not really necessarily looking at that.
Okay. Sticking with ball pythons and just working those projects. In your collection, and it's relatively short time, right? Like 3 years, did you say?
Two technically, yeah.
2 years? Okay. What are you looking at for number of projects? Are you trying to stay fairly narrow, or are you picking up 3-4 solid projects that these are what I'm going to focus on?
That clean, just clown, I guess, in general. Working in complete dominance into clown, I got quite a large sum, I guess, is a het clown or potential het clown. Working with trying to get all these shed tested. But as far as that goes, the VPI project, and just clown projects in general, I guess, not necessarily. I don't have a lot of room.
Okay.
So I've kind of got to play with the room I've been given until one of the kids either gets old enough or another room. My wife allows me to move into a bigger room at this point.
Right. No, I understand that. Space is always a concern, and that was where I was headed next. I mean, it's always the thing when people start out, and we are kind of on that side of things. We're not pretending to be experts in any of these areas. It's really kind of an informational meet and greet for people that are starting into this and curious. So, what does that look like on your side? Like, are you dedicated to a single room? How does your infrastructure, if you want to call it, look?
So once we got the Freedom Breeder rack, it wouldn't fit. I was in my closet, so we have a pretty decent sized closet. It's not like a walk, it's a big walk-in closet. Anyway, so I had my racks all set up in there, and then once we got the Freedom Breeder rack in, it's a little bit big to fit in there, so we had to move it out. We have like a office sunroom thing, I guess. Anyway, it fit really well in here, and so I'm kind of sharing a little bit with the pantry. Still, it's got a little bit of groceries and stuff, dry goods. But um, as far as that goes, we still have the babies in the closet because it works really well. It keeps my adults and my babies separate, and it saves space in here, so I don't have to have as much stuff in here.
Yeah, absolutely. Okay.
Makes sense.
And that's the things we have to do. Chris, good to see you, man. Thanks for coming out. That's the things we've all got to do on the starting side, right? Is like figure out where that space is going to work, section it off, whether that be rooms in the house or maybe a chunk of the garage that you throw a wall up and you divide that. But it's always interesting to hear how people make that work in their current situation, right? Jamie and I, it's the basement, like the back half of our basement sectioned off, and that's where they are,
Yeah, I got one of the kids' bedrooms is what I'm using. It was a small bedroom too, so same situation, pretty cramped in there.
Yeah, gets a little tight. So, you come up with things as you grow, but I kind of lost my train of thought here for a second. I think it's the headset blocking all the normal psychic stuff going on. I think this thing's interrupting, but
Need a cat on your back. That helps.
yeah, that's what I need is that Cheshire cat. Switch scenes because it looked like you maybe wanted to show an animal or two. You kind of leaned back that way, and if you don't, that's cool. But
Yeah, no, actually, I'll show you the first one I got. There's a lot of people that like her. Let's see if she's, look at that. This is Nala. Oh, shoot. Which the lighting in here is not the best.
still beautiful, man.
Yeah, she's one of my favorites for sure. And it's mostly probably because she was one of the first ones, right? But she's just really got a lot of cool genes, I guess. The fire, the pastel, the vanilla, and then bamboo. It's kind of an underdeveloped, probably more of a better term than underrated, but underdeveloped gene in my opinion, especially in the bell complex. And so I'm not this is the one I'm not 100% sure where to move to because I'm not the biggest fan of bamboo clowns. I'm not saying they look bad. I just am not the biggest fan of them.
Yeah,
And
it's tough, right? Because you have to have the other codoms that'll pull back some contrast and things to work together. And
Yeah.
I think that's where bamboo, and I don't want to say got slighted or pushed to the side, but I think when people started seeing the clown stuff, they moved away from it because everything was so clown-centric.
Right.
But, dude, bamboo stuff outside of clown is amazing. Like,
Yeah.
if you
Yeah.
look at what people are putting together.
I don't think I've seen red stripe with it, and I think that would be kind of cool.
That one would be cool.
Yeah,
I was
actually
thinking
hadn't thought of
blackhead
it.
or something along those lines, try and darken it up a little bit.
Yeah.
Yep. Yeah, that's a beautiful
And then this
girl.
one is the ball python 9. She's pretty close to going. She's 1,300 grams. So she's pinstripe, fire, vanilla. No, let's see, fire, pastel. Sorry, and then she's double het, BPI, Zenthic, and Desert Ghost.
Oh, awesome.
Nice.
And I'll tell
John,
you what. Go ahead.
I was going to say, John's going to get to be really good friends with you here because I know I've seen on your Insta, you got some pinstripe stuff in there. And it's like, man, so many people shied away from pinstripe, but we kind of like it. So.
Yeah, a lot of my stuff has pinstripe. I kind of have a slight obsession with pinstripe, I guess. I like stripes. They're clean and
Yep.
And so, yeah.
And people are finding that, again, pinstripe works really well in certain scenarios. Not everywhere. It's pretty overpowering in a lot of stuff, but the stuff it's unique in, you don't find anything like it. Pinstripe Clown is a great example, and people are now coming back to that. They threw it away right away. They're like, Pin Clown, I don't like that. But the more we see that pattern, you are not getting a different way. You know, it's crazy. So.
And pastel is another one that that I have quite a bit of, and I know it's in the right project. Pastel will make or break that project, in my opinion. It can
Totally
really
agree.
make your gravel, your super gravel pastels, even the gravel clown pastels. I just picked up a gravel clown, and that's kind of where I'm heading with him and some of the other yellow belly ALSs, I guess. I've got quite a bit of that too.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. Ken throwing his 2 cents in. He says, I'd put the bamboo. Oh, now we switched. Now we swapped. I was reading. Now we're back. I'd put the bamboo scream clown to a krypton with different genes.
Ooh.
Yeah. I mean,
there you go. That would be.
Get the cryptic involved and get the bamboo cryptic stuff. The couple I have seen are pretty insane. So staying just outside of clown, but you could cross that line, right? So
yeah.
Agree. Pinstripe is amazing. It's just got to be utilized right, man.
Yep.
Or is he pulling our?
So that. No, that's who I would consider my mentor, I guess. It's Chris with Snake and Stein Reptiles, and he 100% agrees. Pinstripe he likes stripes a lot.
Absolutely. Yeah. So day to day, is it? You talked about the wife having some reptiles before. Is she pretty heavily involved with the snakes on the snake side of stuff? In there feeding with you and swapping and cleaning, or does she kind of just stay out of it, or how's that work?
No, yeah, she runs my husbandry pro for me as we're feeding, as we're weighing. She's got the laptop up and going, and no, she's very much involved in it. She's just not much for camera. She's like, this is your thing. You do this, and I'll help you clean the snakes when you're done.
Do you have a cat, Tyson?
No cats, thank goodness. I do have, however, a fly in here that's bothering the crap out of me.
I was just gonna say, do you want one?
No cats.
I got one for cheap right here.
No, I'm good. My wife wants a Maine Coon at some point in her life, but that's about as close to a cat as I'll.
Those Maine Coon are crazy. It's like a bobcat. I mean,
they're pretty cool, man. Pretty cool.
Yeah, Jays. I don't know, man.
She has a snake right here, and he's pretty. She picked him out. She really, really, really loves the banana stuff, the coral glow stuff, whatever you want to call it. He's banana. I do keep the lines separate because it matters. He's banana, sugar, or calico. Sorry, het BPI, het clown.
Nice.
So he's gonna do some fun stuff for us. Oh shoot, here we go. Well, the
Yeah, tough to get the direction. I do that all the time. Go the wrong way, but yeah.
This is her snake. She tells me that every day. She reminds me.
Right. Banana calico is an awesome combo going into all kinds of things. The one thing I can say is with the Axanthic, I'm not sure on the banana yet. I've seen some, and it's almost muted. It's kind of strange what it does. It's almost like it mutes both. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's so weird because I really, really like banana, but I just don't want to deal with that project. I don't want to deal with the male-female thing. It's just, there's already so many limitations that it's like, I don't want to add that to the mix, but I really, really do like them. I always have. I know Jamie likes them.
I agree there.
Yeah.
That sex link makes it a little bit more difficult. He's a male maker, so everything that comes out banana is going to be boy, which, I mean, I guess in the grand scheme of things, looking at a clutch and visually being available boy, that's kind of nice, I guess. But
I was just going to say, if you're really going to go into it, and if you got enough of them where you can just go, hey, I'm going to make boys here and girls there, yeah, great. But
well, and I do think we will probably, and this is just my own opinion, I know people are going to throw rocks and things, but I do think that this mentality of the 1-to-5 ratios with your males to females is what you're shooting for. I'm not certain that's the best plan. Like, to me, ideally, you want that one perfect male for that one perfect female, and you get what you get out of that clutch. Like, it feels like an over, and I understand that at some point numbers were a thing. Like if you're trying to hit a 1 in 64, you want to give that male 5 shots, right?
Yeah.
But if you're really doing conscious pairing and you really want just the result from that pairing, unless you've got one male and 5 identical females, I mean, maybe that's the case, but like, why would you not have just as much variety in your males and your females and do those 1-to-1 pairings for the sake of variety and keep your numbers down? Like,
I
don't
think
do,
I think it depends where you're at in your projects. And I
right?
also really think it depends on the timeline market wise that you're talking about too. Because some things make way more economical sense at certain times. But I agree
Sure.
100% with what you're saying, John. I don't think that ratio. I
It
mean,
doesn't
You know,
work
it
10
for
probably
years ago,
everyone.
maybe it was.
no, exactly. It probably works for some people, but I don't think that's just a broad. This is what you should do thing at all. So
Yeah.
When 5 years ago, before shed testing, it, I mean, in my opinion, it made sense to hold back an entire clutch of females and then the 2 males and pray to God that the one male you decided to hold back was the one that had that head. That makes sense. But now with Charlie and RGI, I mean, it doesn't. In my opinion, it doesn't make sense to just have 5 females that potentially you can hit that. I mean, you know if you're going to hit it, if it's a head or not, and
Right. Yeah, agree. And a lot of times we don't want the same stack in 40 babies. There isn't a point to us because we're not trying to. Well, I guess the recessives would make that different. If you're trying to hit quad recessives, at some point you need numbers to accomplish that.
right,
So I
yeah.
do get that. But that speaks to what you talked about. Getting off that path of just trying for these multiple recessives and doing something different in the codoms and the incompletes, and try that side of things and see how it works. So
230 plus known genes, right? And then it seems like every other day on Facebook, I'm opening it up and there's someone else that has a new gene. So, I mean, 230 plus,
Right.
250 by the end of the year. So there's quite a few. There's enough paint on the easel. Just paint with what you got.
Yep.
absolutely agree with that, man. Love the mentality. Genes out there that you see going into things and that you don't have currently, but you want to add in. Like, is there something that you definitely would like? Hey, this is in the next several months. I'm grabbing one of these and I'm putting this into
Drop the scroll.
right.
Yeah. I mean, there's a lot of projects that I'd love to get my hands on. One that I can say that I will. I don't know when, and to be honest, I'm not sure if it's going to be Ultramel or Monarch. And I know there's a big team Ultramel, team Monarch thing, but one of the ultramelanistic style genes, whichever one that one may be, whenever it comes up with the right combination of other genes, I guess involved, I would love to get into that. Chris just hatched out some Ultra Glows, and those things are just gorgeous. I mean, a simple incomplete dominant, two incomplete dominants, pastel and Mojave, and then Ultramel and Hypo, and that thing is just, it's 4 genes. That's it. There's only 4 genes there, but goodness gracious, it's gorgeous.
Yeah.
Yeah,
You
absolutely.
you sold me on Mojave. Still, it's one of those ones that everybody's always like Mojave, but I love the Mojave gene, man. It works with so many things. It does some nice stuff. So.
If you need Mojave stuff of any kind, please reach out to Jason directly. We literally have, I think we have, no, we have 0 Mojave on this side now. We did have for a short time, but now I think they're all at Jay's side. But yeah, another one of those genes that it got used for a bit, but there's still a lot of places for that to go. So yeah.
Well, it gets concerning, right? When especially when the potential for white snakes. I'm not saying white snakes with blue eyes or white snakes in general aren't something that they're beautiful. I'll give that to the pet community. They're gorgeous snakes. For me, it's like I don't want to, like, I saw a clutch pop up that came out as spider, and because it was a bell, no one knew it was spider in it. Now they're, and not that I'm opposed to breeding spider either. It's just the point of
They're
what's in
upset
that
about
snake
it.
and the breed. Yeah, well, I don't know if they're upset about it. I didn't get really that much into it, to be honest. It's not really my business, but more so just it's a white snake, and what else is there? And I don't know. I like the different. I like colors. Like, I love colors. So why would I just completely eliminate every drop of pattern in color?
It's good to have some in your pocket if you're going to do some shows, because I mean, it's a guaranteed you're going to sell some white snakes, right? At least you walk out selling something.
Right.
One of the guys at one of the shows I was talking to, I was telling him about how I was nervous to throw white snakes. He's like, man, I used to have that mentality 5 years ago, and then about 5 years ago, I was like, screw it. What if I throw an ivory?
Yeah.
It's still a 1 in 16 chance. So there's only a 1 in 16 chance. There's only 6 eggs. So, and he ended up finding out that he'd throw one ivory a year, and he'd have potential for 5 clutches to be all ivories. So,
and it would sell in 2 weeks
Yeah.
because people love white
yeah,
snakes.
exactly.
Right? And it's like,
white
well,
snakes. Yep.
no loss. But
Yeah.
I was just about to touch on that too, because basically that can really be a problem if you're not certain what you're throwing to. Like if you're throwing het to het, that's a huge problem.
Oh yeah.
If you're throwing a visual to a het or a visual to a non to make hets, doesn't really matter at that point. And some of those bonus white snakes are just fine, right? So yeah, that mentality I think is shifting a little bit too as I think clutch numbers come down. People are like, sweet, I got a white snake out of this 8-egg clutch. That's an easy sale, and I got some other stuff I need. Again, if you're doing 400 clutches and you get, 20 clutches of this stuff, that becomes a bit of an issue, right? So
Yeah.
big shift in what's going on that way, I think, and just numbers for people in general. So I like the way things are going, I have to be honest. Less snakes, more focus on projects, different projects outside of the mainstream, and it sounds like that's the path you're on, so appreciate that part of it. Stuff you want to completely avoid. Is there something like, I have zero interest in working with this? Not necessarily it's a bad gene, but just you personally, like I'm avoiding these things specifically.
And spider is about the only thing. I mean, the only reason I say that is this kind of makes me more sound maybe profit driven, and it has nothing to do with profit. It's just the cycle we're in right now is no spider, right? And whether I believe that snake is found in the wild and does just fine, and most likely, best eater you've ever owned, all that fun jazz, beautiful, probably some of the most beautiful combinations I've ever seen. I just don't want to deal with the mess of everyone telling everyone that that's spider, and it's just not something I want to necessarily mess with.
Yeah.
Okay.
And you mean the spider itself, not the whole complex, obviously, right?
Yeah, not the whole complex. I mean,
Yeah.
I have spot nose. I don't have an
Right.
issue with the complex as a whole, no, by any means. I just
Okay.
that's kind of my whole driving factor. Every time I see it on Facebook, it's not a neurological issue; it's an inner ear issue. Some of the best eaters are spiders. Most of the time, it's because they're being either kept too cold or too hot. It all breaks down to husbandry, and that snake being just so stressed that it can't get its bearings straight is what it really breaks down to, in my opinion. But people hate it because it's for whatever. I don't know, to be honest. I don't quite understand it, because there's an entire complex, and you try and explain people that there's an entire complex that's surrounding that, and breeders understand, and even hardcore hobbyists or hardcore keepers know and understand. But the amount of misinformation and really the lack of good information, it's not even misinformation, it's just crap information or old information.
Yeah.
It can't seem to die. It seems to circulate through and we go back on another cycle of it.
There's a lot of people out there just looking for a cause too. So, I mean, there's a lot of that.
And,
right?
yeah, millennials.
The millennials.
Yeah, the virtue signaling stuff is a big part of that too. It's like they have nothing to do with the community, don't fully get it, and they've heard it, but yet they want to be on that good side or whatever that's considered, right? So yeah, I don't put a lot of weight in that, but I do understand just the economic side of that, how difficult that can be to move, whether you know it's perfectly fine or not. That does put an additional stress on you when it's an animal that's a question mark. If you can move this out to the right person and not have additional issues right outside of that. So I get it 100%. But project wise, are there things you just want to stay away from? Like, hey, this is never going to work in what I see going forward. Or are you pretty open to like, this might do what I need down the road?
There's a lot that I really want. I haven't really found any projects that I'm like, oh no, I could never do that. Or I'm working on trying to get like a building for a rat room. That's kind of the next big investment, I guess, if you want to say.
Good idea, man.
And so get set up with breeding rats, and then I'm hoping that I can get a big enough building that I can put a division wall, and even increase the capacity for the snakes. And if we can do something along those lines, then like I love puzzle, absolutely love puzzle. Like I said, Ultramel or Monarch, either one of those. Hypogenes are beautiful. It's just when it breaks down to the space and then my time to do it. Because I mean, snakes aren't hard. Don't take a lot of time really. I mean, they can. Don't get me wrong. I'll sit in this rat or the snake room for hours and probably clean one row. I mean, just playing with them and hanging out and just having a good time. But it doesn't necessarily have. I can also bust through all these racks in an hour and have them fed in 30 minutes and be back on my way. So it's an hour and a half in a week, and I really don't have to do much with them. So it's. But I also don't want to get to the point where 5, 6, 7, 800 snakes, and I have a bunch of numbers and not a bunch of names. It's a hobby, and that's kind of where I want to keep it. I mean, if it makes money enough to pay for itself, I'm ecstatic. Like, I don't care if it ever profits any more money than what I put into it.
Okay. Awesome. Touched on that, so that took a question completely out of the after hot seat thing. But I am going to touch on the rodents and your plans there. So I only mention hot seat because we're hitting that time frame. I always peek up in the corner and kind of see where we're sitting. Jamie gets antsy too, and if we don't get her out here while she's antsy, it's not nearly as much fun because she really turns up the heat when she's still antsy. So are you ready for that scenario? Because if so, I think it's a good time to switch over to that, and then we'll touch on some of what we just talked about right after.
Yep.
Absolutely. Okay. Jamie's ready back there. I see her nodding her head. So, guys, it's hot seat time. Chat, get involved with this, too. You don't like one of his hot seat answers? Fire away at this guy. He looks pretty bulletproof. But
yeah, hit me.
Right. Hit him with it, guys.
Not enough pressure.
Right. So it's hot seat time. Good luck over there, Tyson. Jamie, have fun. See you guys in a couple seconds.
It's time to play the game. It's time to play the game. Ha ha ha. Let's go.
Isn't that funny? It makes me laugh every time. I kind of went easy on you, Tyson, because I knew you were a little nervous.
Yeah, I appreciate that.
Okay. Reality TV or documentaries?
Documentaries for sure.
Pinstripe or clown?
Oh, that one's a rough one.
Yeah.
Probably pinstripe. I know I'm probably going to get eaten alive there.
No, I love pinstripe. It's so cool. Yeah.
It is.
Art gallery or history museum?
History museum.
What's your go-to midnight snack?
Probably a bowl of cereal, to be honest with you.
Yeah? What flavor?
Lucky Charms, because that's what the kids eat, and so that's what's in the house most of the time.
That's hilarious. So I haven't had a bowl of cold cereal and I can't remember. Probably since my kids were young. Yeah, that's crazy. Are you more of a thinker or a doer?
Doer, in my opinion, yeah.
Sometimes do you do things and then wish you would have thought about it later?
Oh, for sure. Yeah, that happens consistently on a daily basis. Yeah. My wife's like, if you just take a couple seconds. Probably.
That's too funny. Would you rather have a home on a beach or a cabin in the woods?
Cabin in the woods. I grew up in the woods, love the woods.
You must not be afraid of wood ticks like I am.
No, not at all. I'm not a big fan of them. I don't want them crawling on me, but I won't run away.
I hate them so hard. Listening or talking?
My wife will tell you talking, but I think I'm a better listener than a better talker. But my wife will definitely tell you I'm better at talking.
Probably just with her. Tend to talk more at home. Yeah.
Yeah.
What is your favorite way to unwind after a long day?
To be honest with you, just sit in the snake room, hang out with the snakes, just chill with the family. I really enjoy just hanging out. My daughters both love these snakes, and so it's kind of a family thing, so it's fun.
Yeah. Does the 3-year-old hold them and everything? Is she good with them?
Yeah. Oh yeah. Yeah. She has her snake. It's Sheldon, and that's her snake. And she likes to. She's like her mother. Likes to remind me every day that's her snake.
That's so funny. That's so cute. Do you have any pictures of her on your Instagram? I'll have to go look.
Yeah. She gets helps, and so we get trying like this morning the little finger that comes in and pets the snake that we posted. That's her little finger. So yeah,
Okay. Cute,
she's
cute.
on it.
Adorable. The Rolling Stones or AC/DC?
ACDC.
If you could have any superpower, what would it be?
Mm, probably flying.
Yeah. A lot of people say flying. I wonder where they would fly to when they say that.
I don't anywhere,
Anywhere.
everywhere.
Anywhere and everywhere. Would you rather live in a world without music or a world without color?
Well, that one's a rough one too. Probably no color.
Oh, that would be hard to see everything in gray.
Yeah, but no music would make my day go by long.
Yeah, that's true. Would you rather spend a half hour in a walk-in freezer or 1 hour in a sauna?
Probably the sauna. It was like 110 degrees today, so I'm pretty well. I think I can handle that.
That's crazy. Oh man. Steak or seafood?
Steak,
How do you order it?
medium rare. There's no other
Yeah.
way. If you cook it any further, it's ruined.
Yep, I agree. Yep. What would the what would the perfect number of reptiles be for you?
uh, I don't know that there is one. I mean, I know I said something about not getting too big with the hobby, but if I had nothing to do besides just play with reptiles, as many as I could play with is, I mean, hundreds, all
Right?
different species.
It's like once you have a couple, you just need to have more. It's insane how that works.
Yeah, yep,
It's nuts.
yep.
If you could hang out with any cartoon character, who would you pick?
Mm, not a big cartoon guy, but probably like Peter off Family Guy. To be honest with you,
Yeah, that's funny. Awesome. I don't know
I
that
think we'd have a
anyone's
good
ever said
time.
that before. Yeah, cool. What 3 words would you use to describe yourself?
Hardworking, trustworthy, and loyal.
Awesome. Good words. Good words.
Yeah.
What is your most anticipated goal for 2025?
Have more clutches than the one I got two more that are potentially on their way, but my goal I guess is more snake oriented nowadays, and I'd like to have my 6 clutches of these girls that all go.
Yeah, that'd be awesome. Is that how many you paired? Was the 6?
I've only got 3 this year, but I've got 6 that
Okay.
are sitting at 13, 1400 grams, so
Right.
they're all
Okay.
right there if they just
Yep.
decide to
Yep.
eat consistently instead of hit that 1,000 gram wall
Awesome.
at
Very
1300.
cool. What's a piece of advice that you've been given that you always remembered?
Breed for you. Be your best customer. Don't don't breed. Don't chase coattails, because you'll
Yeah.
chase that guy until you're either bankrupt or you lose interest. Whichever comes
Yeah.
first.
Yeah, absolutely. It's a good one. Shout out 2 people who you consider a mentor.
Snakenstein Reptiles. Chris is by far probably one of he's my mentor, I guess. And then John and Lori with Wilder Balls. Both those guys are just some phenomenal people. They're very, very knowledgeable, and definitely 2 that I would consider mentors.
Are they located in Texas close to you, or are they someplace else? Yeah.
Yeah, so Chris is I buy rats from him weekly, and then so do John and Lori. They buy rats from him
Okay.
weekly as well, and so we all
Okay.
kind of hang out. It'll be 2 or 3 hours in the rat room with him.
Right? Time always goes so fast. That's awesome.
Oh,
If
it
you could
does.
go back in time and talk to little Tyson, what would you tell him?
don't waste your time with the oil field. Just go back and get that shop going that you want to do.
Yeah, very cool. You did awesome in the hot seat. It wasn't so
Thank
bad, huh?
No, no,
Yeah.
no. A little warm, but
It's
other than that, we're good.
yeah, it's always fun hearing what people have to say. Thank you for joining me. Thank you for everybody in the chat. And as always, like, share, follow, and subscribe.
Awesome job,
Nice
man.
job. Nice
Some
job.
great ones. And I'm surprised you're the first to say Peter.
Yeah.
Because, dude, I'm hanging out with Peter all day.
Right.
Dude. I'd be
That'd be
dying
hilarious,
laughing.
man.
Oh yeah, for sure. I'd probably be a little drunker than I'd like to be, but it'd be fun if I remembered it for sure.
Right.
Absolutely, for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah, and Jamie mentioned everybody in the chat, and I do want to apologize for the start of the show. We always shout people out. We didn't do that tonight. We were trying to get through because we started late, all the technical difficulties. So everyone out there, we do appreciate you. Apologies for the missing you
100%.
shouting out in the beginning. But one of those things where we're trying to, what you said, don't chase coat, but we were chasing our own technical coattails, trying to get this damn thing on the road again. But yeah, awesome job in there, man. And again, touching on stuff that no one's ever going to guess about you unless Jamie asks that weird question.
Yeah, for
You know,
sure.
so-
For sure.
Appreciate that part of it. Rats, you talked about hanging out with these other guys in their rat rooms, but you want to get one going too. What's your plan there? How's that look? Time frame, what you're going to do, and yeah.
I'm wanting to have a couple colonies going by the end of July. I've got a couple, I guess, goals set for the month of July. It's I don't do the whole birthday month thing, but it is my birthday month, so it's 500 followers on Instagram and Facebook, which I know to some of these people that are in the chat, that's like nothing, but that's my goal. I am not there yet, and that's where I want to be. I want to have 2 colonies of rats going. And Chris, like I said, he's the one we buy from, and so he's also the guy that's sold me quite a bit of my collection, to be honest. So he's going to help me get going on it. I've been helping him for probably the last 3 or 4 months in his rat room, trying to get the system down, I guess, so I have a good understanding of what I'm doing.
Okay.
And so that's the is a couple colonies by the end of July.
Yeah.
Okay.
You maybe
You
you
and
said.
Oh,
I
go
was
ahead,
just
Jay.
gonna say ASFs or Norwegians.
Norwegians. Yeah, we have an ASF breeder down here, and I bought a couple because I've had a couple snakes come in on ASFs, and I know they're probably a little easier, but just I don't know, these rats. If you get the genetics and the lines of the rats just right, and you work with them, and you don't just you treat them like mammals instead of reptiles, I guess.
Yeah.
There's some funny, like there's a male that's nicknamed the Gooder Boy or the Better Boy. He was a feeder, but he ended up in the tub with smalls, and he just like grabbed a handful of them and just like snuggling with these small rats and just being
Yeah.
the coolest male rat. So
Sure.
he got to live. He's putting his lines down down the line now.
Right.
Well, they're definitely smarter. I mean, I'll argue that with anybody. We do the ASFs, and I like them. They're a little less on the stinky side than a rat is, but when you look at intelligence, I mean, the ASF's a mouse. I mean, let's get realistic about it, right?
Yeah.
It's a big mouse. The rats are pretty intelligent, actually, and they're social.
Yeah.
They'll still eat their babies, just like any of them will. But
100%.
yeah, and I know,
and they have their downsides, right? We don't have something to eat jumbo rats. I don't have a
yep.
like a Burmese or anything or a blood python. So, but I do have friends that have blood pythons. So it's something that down the line we'll cross that bridge when the time comes, I guess.
Yeah.
For sure. Okay. Yeah, you touched on all the different things and the reasons why. And I hear climate being a big factor with what people pick too, because the ASF do fairly well in pretty high heat. You know, like you don't need to bring that temp down as cool for ASFs as you might to get productive Norwegian colonies, right? So it's always a question out there, like, what are you picking and why? And man, you touched on those perfect. You thought it through, and that's what's going to work for you. So there is no right or wrong way, guys. It's legit, like person to person, what is going to work for you in your scenario, you know? So
yeah.
The other thing that Chris brought up when we were talking about Norwegians versus ASFs is there's 13, 14 states that ASFs are illegal. And so I'm not saying that a snake can't swap, because they for sure can. I've gotten almost all mine.
Wow.
Actually, I have gotten all mine off of mice or ASFs, however they come in. But to just set someone up in California up, not necessarily for failure, but already not able to get that, and then you almost feel bad because you're like, well, man, sorry you're having so much issue. And maybe if I would have fed rats, it would have been a little bit different. So that's part of my thought process as well.
Sure.
We swap them. So I feed purely Norwegian on this side, unless if I need lives for a reason, I'll grab ASFs and throw them in there, but it's purely Norwegians. And I'm grabbing stuff from John and Jamie's side constantly over here, back and forth. And we swap. I mean, they don't hesitate to eat at all. It's never been an issue. So,
Yeah.
But we feed all frozen thawed for the most part too.
That's awesome.
But you touched on something valid, and then it'll be that one that you sell that we did ASF from the time it was a baby, and they just cannot get it to eat, and that is a concern. So it's legit. Again, I don't think we've ever had an animal that's starved for lack of one or the other. They'll go a long time before they decide, okay, I'm going to take a Norwegian. Do you know what I mean? Once they do, they're on the Norwegian train. But I don't think we've ever had an animal legit starve itself for lack of one type of food versus another.
We've bought animals where they flat out told us the only thing they'll eat is lives. And we just don't feed live. It's not convenient for us to do the live feeding. And they've eaten. That's happened several times. So
yeah.
Everything that I've seen, it breaks down to husbandry, if you want my honest opinion. Humidity's not right, heat's not right, which, I mean, if you're selling to a new keeper, and they're putting them from, my 8-quart or 10-quart or whatever tub, and then they're going to throw them in a 4x2x2 or a 40-gallon breeder, or whatever they throw them in, we're already changing so much. And then to try and get them to change to a completely different food on top of that, it's just trying to keep something consistent so they can maybe help settle them in a little bit quicker. I said, there's probably not a lot to do to it as long as husbandry's proper. And it probably won't matter if husbandry's not proper either way, to be honest with you. But that's at least the thought process.
Totally agree. I think the biggest issues that we see as far as from the buyer end of it is when you get people, like you say, they're buying for pets and they're taking them a tub grown snake and throwing it into an aquarium. And the snake just is stressed constantly. And we'll coach them on it, cover the sides up, get it so it's closed. I don't like to be out in the open. And if they follow everything we tell them to do, they immediately will start eating. But sometimes that's a chore too to get people to actually listen, because I think they hear some of it and they're like, I can't see how that matters. So they don't really follow what you're telling them.
One ear out the other.
Well, it kind of goes back to those Facebook groups, and kind of poor information, old school information. You see it all the time with people still feeding in separate tubs, and because their snake's going to bite them. That was 15 years ago.
Yeah. I still see that. You're right. I saw that just probably a week ago, actually, and I had to laugh. I'm like, doesn't really have anything to do with it, but okay.
Yep. And again, not to bash or beat on anyone, everything works different for everyone else. So maybe you got that one snake that works for you. I'm totally cool with that. But don't make it a rule in general. That's my main thing. Is like, don't make a general rule, this is what you got to do. Because I've seen all kinds of weird shit. People feeding them off of their ladder toys. And they eat off the ladder toy and nowhere else. You know what I mean? And it's like, okay, if that works for you and your snake, fantastic, but
I've had babies here that wouldn't eat unless I held them. Literally would not eat, and I'd pick them up and hold them and they would eat. Figure that out. Makes no sense at all.
Yeah, that one, not at all.
You're the only person I know that would do that.
like I'm gonna try this last ditch effort, please eat.
The only way it'll eat it is straight if I hold the rat tail in my teeth. It's the only way this snake will eat. Yeah, but that's so true. That's so true. Wiz, good to see you, man. Thanks for stopping out. And that's, I guess, just the things we pick up along the way, right? So being kind of fresh to this, although you've been to a lot of the expos and things, and you've kind of seen all of that side of it, what are your plans that way? Like, what do you see your market doing well? Is it going to be through online sales? Are you trying to get to a vending spot? What's the story on that side of it, sales wise?
Yeah, shows, expos, online. I've kind of come to the decision, like I kind of mentioned, we use Husbandry Pro here. And so instead of pushing people towards my Morph Market, I've come to the idea that instead of advertising Morph Market account, and not that I have anything against Morph Market, I'll use it. It's a definite good tool in the tool belt. But I have ADHD really, really bad. And I might be on your guys' Morph Market and I'll hit back one too many times and then find 7 other snakes that are what I think is better. And then all of a sudden I'm buying one of those instead of yours. And so if I can keep people in my store looking at my animals, I think I have a better look. But um, August is there's a show in July, but I've got a dino event, so I won't be able to make that one. But in August, as long as not all these snakes are sold, me and a friend that's getting started, a taco boss, his name's Chuck, he's an old retired cop. He just had his first clutch too. And so we're talking about just kind of teaming up and sharing a table because neither one of us have enough to fill a table per se, but together hanging out and just chilling would be definitely fun.
Yeah, good idea, man.
Yeah, that's awesome. Collabing on things like that as an entryway when you don't have the quantity is a fantastic start. Throw both your banners up, talk to everybody, send each other back and forth. Yeah, that's amazing. So, but vending is something you obviously are actively
100%.
pursuing. Okay.
I enjoy. I tell everyone that I'm introverted, but then when I get in front of people, I really like. I love dino events. I love jumping off the truck and having. I'm not a big people person, in my opinion, but every time I get around people in events and stuff, I really like talking. And so I'll, and especially when it's something I'm passionate about, like this, I'd talk anyone's ear off for hours and hours and hours.
Right. Yeah, absolutely. And I'm very much the same way. Like, to get me to go out of the door to the event is the tough part. Once I'm there and I meet people and I'm doing what I'm, and then I'm having fun and what, but convincing me to go do that is I don't know if that's agoraphobia, whatever that little glitch is, that to convince me that I should do that portion is the tough part. Once I'm there, I'm like, hey, shaking hands and enjoy it, have a good time, right?
But I think it's just the more effort on top of the extra effort that you already put in on top of the effort.
Right. Maybe.
That's what it is. That's what it is, man.
It's a weird thing, but I think that's very common for people. It's like getting them to step off that rung of the ladder. And like once you're down there on the flat ground, it's fine, but you're like stuck on that ladder. So yeah, and you didn't put out a vibe like this was going to be difficult for you at all. I mean, from the pre-show to all that, you're completely comfortable. So you talked about it a little bit in the pre-show stuff, like, oh, I don't know, man, if I want to do one of these or not, but dude, you're totally comfy and it's coming off totally fine. So kudos to you.
This is an act.
It's 100% an act. I'm sweating too.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's funny, man. So yeah, that's cool to know that you actually plan to go that route. A lot of people now are like seeing the online avenues. They're skipping that as their way to, market themselves. Also, guys, you mentioned Instagram. He wants to hit these numbers. It is in the description below. Go over there, give him a follow, do all of that stuff. I didn't know that Morph Market wasn't your preference, so I threw that in there too. I had just an X number of links. I just put all that in there, but what are you sitting with now that you'd like to move? Talk about like numbers and things. Do you have like a specific set of animals that, hey, these could really go, people can go look at and check you out?
With that big clutch we had, my wife and me were trying to figure out the best way to try, because there's 4 or 5 genes that hit pretty heavy that, not saying they look the same, but when you're looking at 4 snakes that look fairly similar, trying to keep them and zoom in on a photo and be like, that's this one or that's this one. So we've used like little emojis, like thunderbolts and moons and stars. And so there are 3 of the 15 spoken for as of right now. They're all on their second meal. They'll be having the third meal Saturday. All of them are eating off tongs fairly well. So any of those, except for the one female, I guess, but she's already marked as spoken for. Let's put it that way. But all the rest of them are all for sale, ready to rock and roll here in the next 2 weeks. 5 consecutive meals is where we've gotten to, and then I'd prefer over 100 grams. Like it's one of those things. 5 consecutive rats, 100 grams plus before they leave my possession, just to make sure they work properly.
Yeah, doing what
Sure.
they're supposed to do. Yeah, I think
Yep.
the 100-gram mark's more than fair. I know a lot of people recently are getting animals in that 70 to 90 grams, and I'm like, I'm iffy on that. I'm not a fan. I'll be honest. To
No,
get an animal
no.
under 100 grams on my end, I'm not happy.
Dude,
in that
we've hatched
scenario.
out snakes literally at like 100 plus,
Yeah,
120.
out of the egg. Yeah.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
Well, and all these guys came out mid 60s, high 50s, mid 60s, and so I mean, in all reality, with 5 meals, if they're not breaking 100 grams, they're right there. I mean,
Yeah.
it's one of those things that 5 meals and they should be good, but yeah, that's 100-gram wall. I like I agree. I guess I got a snake in at 86 grams, and I was like, are you sure this ate 5 meals or ate at all? Are you sure that the egg and shit thing?
Right.
yeah, I think in the initial buying phase of things, when you're picking that animal that's got the right gene set and all of that, I think we've all kind of run into that where, and even on the other end of this, I think this is being thrown around a lot now recently because of how the market is tipped a little bit, but getting that year-old animal that's at, 300 grams, and you're going, how is this a year old? Do you know what I mean? Like it's either two things. It's either an animal that isn't trying to thrive and isn't going to do well long term, or you're really stretching out how much that thing is getting,
Yeah, those
the
those
feed it
fuzzies and
needs.
those pups.
Yeah, and unfortunately that's kind of part of it, and why I'd like to see a lot of these numbers drop, like we talked about earlier. Get the 1-to-1 male pairings going. Get yourself down to where you're actually producing exactly what you need, and that's it. Not to preach or tell people what to do, but I feel like that went a lot of years the wrong direction, where quantity was a thing. And even when we started, it was like, if you're not hatching X
Yeah.
eggs,
Well,
like,
that's the
this
market,
doesn't
right?
make sense, right?
20 clutches, you're a nobody.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, that, or it's just not going to work for you because you can't hit what you need, right?
Right. The
So,
odds. Playing the odds and trying to hit it while the market's big.
yeah, if you're playing this game, play it in your best favor and invest in that animal that brings it down to a 1 in 8 odds, not a 1 in 365. You know what I mean? Like, get that working in our favor for everyone's benefit. You know what I mean? So, yeah, get that. It's cool to see the vendings on the future. What are you looking forward to this year? Do you have things building? Are things getting ready to produce for you? Where are you sitting that way?
Super Enchi freeways, Mardi Gras, Super Mardi Gras, whatever you want to call them. I kind of goof off and say Super Mardi Gras, but I don't think that's probably the technical term.
Right.
It sounds cooler than
It
Super
does.
Freeway or Super
I'd
Enchi
much rather
freeways,
go to
though.
Super Mardi Gras than just Mardi Gras.
Yeah, exactly.
Might be scared to go to that.
I've got those two going. Exactly. And there's a Het DG playing around there that I'm really hoping moves through, and we can move in some of that. Super Enchi in general. I've got a lot of Enchi in general. Super Enchis are really, really pretty to me, and so I really have pushed that. But that one, and then the Leopard Yellow Belly Fire. She's also going to the Asphalt DG boy, Enchi Asphalt DG Enchi boy, and so just a lot of that ALS Yellow Belly complex playing around here. So those two I'm really pumped about. I'm not saying the first clutch didn't come out phenomenal, and I'm not trying to say it was like a trial run, but because it ended up with 15 eggs was not a trial run. It was definitely a full blown let's go. But it was kind of Enchi and cinnamon really go cool together. It throws orange snakes, and I don't know if anyone can tell, but I kind of like orange things. And so I was like, hey, that's going to be really cool. Let's see what we can make. And it ended up really, really phenomenal. And I probably will end up running that pairing again. But that Enchi, Super Enchi freeway is something I'm stupid pumped about.
Yeah,
really.
that was a really pretty clutch, man. And definitely orange. All orange. Real nice.
Yeah, all of it. All of it. Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, and again, where the freeway tends to do the back stripe and she wants to bring everything to a single line down the back and get real reduced, it's a weird way that no one really looked at and did. So kudos again, because people weren't pushing Enchi into freeway, highway, pavement, all that. They were getting away from Enchi, in fact. So, yeah, cool to see that kind of stuff happen.
Last week I picked up a from Proper Oils. I got a visual gravel clown, and
nice.
He's only a couple hundred grams, but that one, like I said, just that ALS combo, yellow belly complex in general, kind of just caught my eye in general. It's just a super stripe complex, whichever one you want to call it.
Right.
Yeah, we've ended with Adam. Was about a month ago now, probably, but he's really got some nice snakes for sure. Beauties.
Yeah. He's getting on that tier where it's that crossover from all pet stuff to like really unique line stuff of his own. You know what I mean? He's been at it a while, but Adam's such a nice guy. Super nice. We pulled in with the car, and he come out right out of the back of the facility and walked right up to us. Hey, Forge, you guys need a hand moving stuff in? We're like, no, we got it. He has plenty to do. Get the heck out of here. Go set your table up, But awesome dude.
Don't you have your own work?
Right? So open and nice. He hadn't met us before, but instantly reached out. Cool dude for sure.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
Nice. Okay. Yeah, Jamie just shouted he's coming on the show shortly, so we'll get to talk with Adam a little bit. But again, apologize. The headset's really throwing me off. I know that's just a week out, but for whatever reason, it's interrupting my normal thought process and staying on a topic.
Those magnets, man. Giant speaker magnets are warping your brain.
Something. It's just not letting the normal telepathy through, but there was something specifically in that last little bit of talk that I was going to ask, and I've completely lost it. So, Jay, I'm putting you on the spot while I try to regather that.
Okay. So I kind of want to just touch back on the rat thing again. So the plan for, because we've talked just briefly, like you want to, put an outbuilding or some kind of little shed out there. What are you looking at for size, and what do you think? You said just a couple colonies to start with. Are you looking to just feed what you got, or?
Yeah, so I don't know what the rest of the country calls them. Growing up, they were called bully barns. I'm sure there's an actual terminology, but like a movable shed. The one I'm looking at is a 10 by 36, so it'd be 10 by 18 foot room, I guess, in total for each, the snakes and then the rats. The first few colonies just want to get going. Again, it's more of those. I generally don't do it to where it's like, oh, let's tip in our toe and see how it goes. It's more like, hey, let's just dive in head first and see how it goes, and maybe it fails or maybe it doesn't, and we'll pick up the pieces and start over and try again.
Sure.
And so that's the goal. So a few colonies, 3 to 4. Chris has got so many clients on a weekly basis that forget to put an order in, and he just doesn't have them. And so just being able to utilize him and have his storefront already going to where I can say, hey, here's a bunch of extras that I don't need anymore, and then work a deal. He's my repti chip dealer. He's my snake dealer. So like it's one of those things that'll probably work out in the long run. I'll probably end up with more snakes than I probably need, but it'll be fine.
What about as far as where you're at, location wise? Do you have like some acreage or private property, or are you in a neighborhood, or how does that?
No, so I'm out in the county. We have an acre out here at the house, and so I've got it's a desert, and so it's not like we have green grass and pretty things to look at. I have mesquite and sagebrush to look at, so putting a building there would probably be a little bit better to look at.
Sure.
So we've got that, and then even being able to utilize the rat room for the Sulcata desert tortoise, because the rat room will stay warm just because of the mammals, and so not having to have that desert tortoise a couple months in the house will make probably my wife a little happier, and then so in the big long run it'll work out really well for us. Through
your 1 month winter you got going on down there.
Yeah. Hey, I mean, we had snowmageddon for like 3 days last year or 2 years ago. It was a thing. We got like 3 inches of snow. The entire state shut down. It was a mess.
Yeah, I'm sure.
I just got to do this for Jeff over there, to flag in those planes.
Yeah.
Just giving me a hard time. And yeah, dude, the headphones are not cool. I think I am going to get a little dedicated set of headphones just for this, though, because I do prefer the sound. Honestly, the little Bluetooth,
Yeah.
ear pods, iPod, whatever, they're not the same. I do prefer this, but
I do
not
too.
in this weight and size for sure. Not going back to this again, guys. So this is a one-time deal just for Tyson. But yeah, and I did remember for a moment what I wanted to touch on. With your clutches and stuff coming, are you close enough with someone that they can come over ultrasound? How do you go about knowing on your side, like, hey, this is ready, this is acting right? What's your situation on that? Evaluating your females, I guess, is the question.
So I attempt palpating. I'm not going to claim that I can do it. I've helped Chris with Snakenstein. He has an ultrasound. And so just seeing where on the snake the follicles sit is enough for me. I grew up on a ranch. And so I've been around animals my entire life. And so I can kind of feel it. But mainly, to be honest with you, I'm going off of the female that I was talking about, Aurora. She came from Snakenstein. Chris has had her, I think, pretty confident he hatched her out. So he's got her cycle pretty much down. She generally lays XYZ, so start pairing her XYZ. The leopard yellow belly I have, same thing. OK Balls in Lubbock, I bought her from them, and they've had her for a few seasons. So that she generally goes about now. I really would like to do Breeder Circle, that ultrasound, the KX, the one from Breeder Circle there. It's one of those things. It's the rat room or the ultrasound, and I'm not saying the ultrasound wouldn't help me out. It really would, but I've really got a 1-to-1 male ratio. I'll just pair them once a month until I have eggs.
Yeah,
or they don't. You know what I mean?
Yep. That makes sense, man. We've tried the palpating, John. I don't know. Maybe you're do okay. I can't,
Nope.
man. I cannot do that.
I've
tried it.
pretend.
I'm like, feels like a snake, yo. Feels like a snake.
Yeah, 2 weeks before that girl laid that 15 egg clutch, I was like, I think I feel him there, and then I'm like, but maybe not. I don't know. Like, there's no way.
Yeah. Meanwhile, it's got the 38 millimeter eggs already developing. Yeah. No, I've tried multiple times, and it's like I've seen a lot of methods as they try to crawl back in the tub. Have paper towel, something between your hands so they slide easier, but the musculature in that animal as it's doing what it's doing is so deceiving. So like they're flexing and moving that rotational abdominal muscle as they're, climbing and doing their, is that a lump? Is that a marble? I can't pick that out. It's so hard, dude.
No.
So I'm not even going to pretend.
I'd be lost.
Yeah.
Marcus Gaines, a write-up. I found that. I don't know, like 2 weeks into maybe thinking about breeding. Someone on YouTube brought it up. I found that, and I just go through the pictures, and I'm like, it looks like she's doing that, and probably what it's happening there. And so I've got a little bit of knowledge, but it's not necessarily something that I'm like, if I don't pair her today, she's not going to lay. I have no idea.
Yeah. No, and I agree with that too. You can watch them. I do way better just if I didn't have an ultrasound, I could watch them and make a way better guess than trying to do the palpating. I just can't do it. I've tried it and it doesn't, nothing. And I know what they're at because I ultrasound them and then I try to do it.
Right.
So I'm going, okay, I can't feel it at 5, but I bet you at 15 I can. No, I can't. Or at 20.
Nope.
Or, I just can't tell, man.
Yeah.
You've got a full screen egg, and you're like, I can feel this one for sure. Nope.
Nope.
Sure can't.
Exactly.
Yep. Got a car tire stuck in there. I have no idea.
Yeah.
But I agree. I was curious on that side because new breeders coming in, they don't know. Do you know the behaviors to look for? Do you have somebody that can come over and check? But you had a great way in. People.
Me too,
exactly, Chris. Yeah. Did concrete and stuff for years. I can't feel nothing that sensitive down there. But that was the big thing when people get started. Do you know to look for the certain behaviors? How do you go about it when you start out? So awesome info there. And then knowing their schedule. You got animals from people that knew their schedule, what they were set on, their routine, and what to look for. So that helps a ton. We're getting right down there. We're at the 1.5 hour mark. Not that we set a time frame or anything for these, but I kind of always do this. Jamie hit on it a little bit in the hot seat, but it's kind of your time to talk about what you want to talk about, get out there for people, send people to your Instagram or wherever you'd like them to interact, and do your own little advertising, I guess, if you want to do that. Shout out people that helped you, all of that good stuff.
Yeah, no, Instagram, Facebook. I use the Meta Business Suite. I don't know if that's what everyone uses, but that's how I've done it with both my companies, and it works really well. So you message me either way, it goes to that. I just can find it. If you have any interest in snakes, reach out either way. We're working on getting that Husbandry Pro store set up and fully. I mean, it's up and active. I don't have any listings up. I'm working on getting all the listings up there. We'll get a Morph market here probably by the end of the week. Another one that I have the free account. I just haven't paid for the account yet. And as soon as we get ready to list snakes, we'll pay for the account and proceed with that. As far as call outs and shout outs, I can't shout Chris out enough. The guy, I mean, you can see in the chat, all I have to do is ask. And I guarantee you 100%, even before me bringing up anything about an ultrasound, all I would have had to do was ask. The guy is just an open book if you're willing to listen. The problem is if, like you guys touched on before, if you don't take his advice, it's one of those things where why would he continue giving advice? Wilder Balls, again, please go give them a follow too. They've got some pretty cool stuff coming. Black pastel banana stuff, Barnhart black pastel banana stuff even.
Cool.
And then they've got puzzle projects and blood pythons and children's pythons and all sorts of fun jazz they're working on. Taco Boss, Tactical Balls, Chuck, for sure, go give him a follow. His biggest place is TikTok. The guy's got, I don't know how old Chuck is, but he's showing all of us younger guys how to actually work that TikTok thing. He's got that thing down pat.
Nice.
But he's awesome. He's just a good guy, and he's got some cool stuff that he's working with, a lot of cool projects. But as far as shouting myself out, I mean, I just want to have fun, I guess. This is not necessarily something that if I keep all 15 of those snakes, my wife will be really not the happiest because, well, that's the plan. But I'm not opposed to it either. I'll keep feeding them until they're 1,000 grams. I don't care. You know what I mean? So it's one of those things. I just really enjoy this. So if anyone has any questions that I can answer ever, I'm not as knowledgeable as a lot of people, but I'm willing to do a lot of research and help you figure it out for sure.
Absolutely.
Awesome.
Have picked up on that. You're an open book and you're more than open to people coming in and asking and talking. So that's awesome, Tyson. I appreciate it, man. I'm going to drag Jamie out here too. Jamie, are you all set back there? Make sure she's not away and petting a cat or a dog or whatever.
Are you still clothed?
Yeah.
Checking on her schedule.
I'm just sitting at my desk naked.
Right.
Weird.
That would be the highest
Weird.
highest viewed episode ever before we got taken down.
I don't know.
But
Nobody wants to see all that.
so throughout the show, and I'm going to switch Jason and Tyson here real quick. But throughout the show, we did gather some information. We got a lot of weird facts. Jamie hopefully
Has
narrowed this down to.
two.
Oh man, is it an A and B again? She does this to us every week, Tyson. She
Every
can't pick
week.
one. It's like, so now we got to flip a coin. Tyson, this is going to be up to you. We'll leave it to the guest. What do you want? Trivia question A or trivia question B from Jamie?
Let's go for A, last name, first letter.
All right,
Okay.
perfect. Okay.
A is how many eggs are in Tyson's first clutch?
Holy, I got to get ready on the split cam here for a
Right.
photo finish because I think we touched on this quite a bit.
That might be the
Yeah, we
easiest
did.
one we've had.
Yeah.
Somebody's going to come back with this instantly, or I would think so anyways. Maybe they're all jabbering with Snakenstein over there.
Man,
There's a
there they are.
whole
Boom, boom,
bunch.
boom, boom, boom. Everybody got
Yeah.
the right answer, too.
Yep.
Oh,
LMK Ken. He's getting to be a
Wow.
regular on the Forge coin collection.
look at that, man. He even typed, what? Bamboo Scream Clown.
But 15 is what
Yep.
we're after there, and holy
Yep.
mackerel, Ken was fast on that.
Yeah,
So,
Should we maybe do question B also?
yeah, I mean, I don't mind. Sure. Throw a question bee out there, too. What the heck?
It's
Okay,
fun.
Ken, get your fingers all warmed up again, Ken. Here we go.
What type of animal has Tyson's
That's a good
wife
one.
had since she was 8 years old?
Oh, that's a little tougher.
Ooh,
I know that one, though.
I do, too, yeah. It's a good question, though. You should have said bee, Tyson.
That should have always go B. Always go B.
Yeah.
Just put it right back on the guest. Should have done this, man. It's the headset. I'm blaming everything on the headset. Oh, did Ken get $20 tonight?
Is it locust?
I mean, the second word's close, but not quite.
Ken's like,
Okay,
damn
Ken, he's throwing yours out. It sounds like Ken. He's giving him the thumbs down.
Maybe it is.
Could be his typing. Could be he's on a
Yeah.
phone and can't hit what he's trying to hit. But
There we go. There it is.
It's a cicada.
Yep.
yeah, so Snakenstein hit it with the actual
Chris hit it with the right
sulcata.
spelling, even.
Yeah. Oh, but I'm
There.
gonna feel bad because
Must have
Ken,
looked
guess
it
what?
up.
You already won. You already won one. So we're gonna give it to Chris over there. Get a new name on the Forge coin board. So, not to be a jerk, Ken. I know you're gonna hit me up later when we get on an RWO show.
Yeah.
You're gonna give me a tough time about this.
It's gonna
but
razz you hard on that one.
you got A, and Chris got B. So we're gonna hand out
All
the
right,
10.
Chris. That means you need to come back and win some more trivia for Forge Coin.
Right. Ken's like, okay, give
It's
it
like
to
I had a
Chris.
conversation with my male before I paired him last week, and I told him that it's only horseshoes and hand grenades that we're going for close. So we need a genuine tail lock there. And
Yeah.
Right.
it was
Yeah.
close, but not quite the scar.
Snuggling don't count in the snake world. Snuggling
right.
don't count. Got a lot of snugglers that don't want to get the work in, but
Yep.
Ken's phone is cracking me up.
Right.
It's just freaking time. And then he's like,
That autocorrect is kicking his butt tonight.
it's so good.
I can just see Ken right now.
he's
Stupid
laughing
phone.
his ass off over there.
Uh-huh.
Right now.
That's
He's like,
so
this
funny to me.
is typical, but now we love Ken, man. Ken's awesome. The whole
Yeah.
RWO crew over there, they're a lot
Heck
of fun,
yeah.
man. Go
I love
check out
those
their
guys,
stuff if you
yeah.
haven't. So,
Too funny.
Tyson, appreciate you, man, a ton,
was good.
100%. Thank you for coming out. Thank you for putting up with the headset and all of the other technical stuff that happened tonight. We will get it dialed in again next week, guys. We'll be back on our normal routine. Hopefully the new PC is all configured. Everything's working right. Unfortunately, I do not have a closing video for our next week's guest for that reason. So, Jamie.
Yep, we're having a gecko guest on next week. It's Martin with Supernatural Reptiles. He's the guy that I bought my very first, besides the pet ones that were given to us, I bought my very first 2 geckos from. So I'm very excited, and I'll be able to maybe, if I can contain the dog and the cat, show off some of the offspring from the geckos that he gave me as babies. So that'll be fun.
Very cool.
And I'm pretty sure by that point, Jason's shirt's going to be completely clean. The cat's going to have
Yeah.
licked
Yep.
that right to the bone. But
Yep.
Yeah.
Tyson,
I don't know why Tommy sent me a dirty shirt.
the cat does this
Little cat
every
dander.
time. Perches up there and just goes to town licking the shirt. But we're out of here, guys. Come back again next week. Great guest. It's going to be a lot of fun with Supernatural. Tyson, hang out for just a minute. Got some stuff to talk to you about in the backstage. Guys, 2 days left. That's all we got. Thursday, Friday, and we hit a weekend again.
Okay.
Lots of stuff out there to view between, right? Before you come back to us, go hit the RWO, go hit the Fat Man Nation, and Whiskey Bomb Nation. There's, Whiskey Bomb Network, not Nation, but hit them all. There's a ton of stuff out there, guys. I know we can't get to them all, but do the ones you can. If you can't, hit the replays, help them out, give them a thumbs up. Let's get all this together and let's keep the community strong, right, guys? Appreciate everybody out there.
So,
Thanks to the 2 winners. We're going to post you up on the Discord. If you don't have access to the Discord and you want it, shoot us a message. It's all open. There's nothing attached to that. Come in, talk. There's pictures. God, there's 80-some people in there now. So anything you want answered, IDs on snakes, to, hey, help with this. There's tons of that going on in the Discord. So jump over there, guys. And thanks again. 2 days left, weekend time. Tyson, hang out. Everybody else, have a fantastic finish to your week. Thanks again, guys. Appreciate it. Peace out.